Hello, dear Sangha. A few announcements before we start. Those in the room, please silence your phones. Those on Zoom, mute your microphones. The next retreat coming up is Finding Freedom in Compassionate Presence with Lisa Ernst from June 23rd to 27th. For more information to register, please visit the retreat page on our website. Venerable Panyawadi is offering a new book study that began last Thursday before, one of those. Class will be each Thursday at 5 p.m. The book is Learning from Buddha by Buddha Master H.H. Dorje Chang, Buddha III. If you're interested in joining, please visit the retreat page on our website and select the book study option. The novena prayers are now occurring monthly every third Thursday. The next one is Thursday, June 17th. The time is to be announced. We invite you to join us on our YouTube page. You can send your confidential prayer requests for yourself or loved ones, including pets, who are sick, suffering, misfortune, or departed to prayer@heartwoodrefuge.org. Our fully vaccinated Sangha members are now invited to Heartwood for Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday Dharma. And last, please like, follow, and share Heartwood and Thrifty Treasures on all social media to help spread the Dharma and further Heartwood's mission. Thank you.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, Sandra. You're welcome. Okay. The Sangha was given, the Sangha that was present last week, or last Tuesday, was given an assignment. You can't hear? All right, or something wrong with our stuff.
The microphone's not.
Stay in line.
Interesting in a correlation, this experience that we just had about the mic dovetails into our assignment and our understanding of what the question is, because it's about buttons that are pushed. So, the question or the statement is, in the sky there is no distinction of east and west. All right, so I want you to think about that first and think about what that means to you. What information or instruction is that given to you as to how to evolve with reality? Or what is reality? What constructs reality and what doesn't? Why do we always get twisted about truth? Truth, what is reality? What do you really see? What did you really hear? What did they really say? Okay. In the sky, there is no distinction of east and west. Everybody's got that picture? Okay. People create distinctions out of their own minds and then believe these distinctions to be true. So the assignment is to look and see and notice when you are creating a distinction. A separation between you and someone else, and when you notice, how could you go back and review or refrain from that engagement with that picture, that in-picturing that you created in your own mind about what you think it is? And if you hadn't crafted that distinction in your mind that guided your response, in other words, how would your reality or your experience be with the other if you did not create that reality of distinction and separation and difference? Right? How often are you noticing you are doing it? So for some of you, you're doing it all the time. But I'll let you come back with that reality. Okay. Does everyone understand the question, the homework assignment? How many did it? Oh, quite a few. Right. I kind of did it. Right. Well, we're going to I'm going to use the mic to hand the mic around. I'm going to pass the mic around as they talk about their experiences for this past week.
They can be heard from that mic where they're sitting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that mic on when I was talking?
This mic?
Yes.
It was. That one's for our people at home at Zoom. The one directly in front of you is so everyone in the room can hear you better.
Okay.
So if we don't have the mic, then the other people in the room may not hear our questions or our responses, I mean.
I'm pretty sure they will. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike
I have difficulty hearing, so I always think
it's hanging from the ceiling.
Okay.
Mike the Reed is hanging from the ceiling right in the middle.
You look to the left, up to the top of the
Oh,
ceiling.
yeah, I
there's
see
a mic
that.
there
Okay.
as well.
Okay. That's good.
How many Buddhists does it take? Okay. So who would like to start us off?
I'll start. I didn't think that I did this very often. I'm still not convinced that I do. I did observe it. I don't know that I intervened. Intervention came for me. I have a lady, we play a game, 4 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally we have 5 or 6. And when we do, then we rotate out.
Mm-hmm.
We play a hand and then somebody gets up and the person that's been waiting takes a turn. We have one player who does not like to do that, and she made that very clear, so we had to take a vote to decide which way do we want to do this, and the vote went against her.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a year ago, 2 years ago, before COVID. So this past week we were going to have 5, and she called and said, I'm not going to be coming. And I thought to myself, she's not coming because there are going to be 5 and she doesn't want to rotate out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, because my washer machine broke and the repairman is coming and I couldn't negotiate a time, he could only come then. She said, and she volunteered, I actually have come to enjoy rotating out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not because of that. I really would come even if I was the 5th, but I just can't this week. So I thought, I did notice that I made an assumption in my mind, ascribed motivation to her behavior, and as I said, I did nothing to intervene. I did make the observation that I did it, but then when she corrected it without me prompting her, I thought, it's very interesting. Now I wonder what I would have felt like after the conversation had she not said that. Would I have gone around grumping about it to myself all day, or what? So that's as far as I got with the exercise.
All right. So did you notice a shift in feeling?
Yeah. Yeah, I felt sort of a sense of relief.
Thought and when you carried a different thought.
Well, my thought caused some angst in me in resisting her attitude about rotating out. Mm-hmm. And when she said, I've actually come to enjoy that, she said, she's got a back problem now, and she said, that gives me a chance to get up and walk around, and it's good for my back. Mm-hmm. I felt a relief that, that I didn't have to feel this angst anymore. It wasn't because of that. So, I mean, I may not have done the exercise correctly, but that was as far as I got with it, was observing it when it came and went.
Okay. And that was the only time that you had an opportunity?
I think there was a second time, but I can't remember the incident anymore. I think I noticed the second time where I ascribed a motivation to somebody. So I think I do it a lot more than I thought I did, and probably more than I made note of. So what would be the next step for me? Just keep doing that?
The next step, in my opinion, would be to just stay present so that you can develop the awareness, the clear awareness of when you are conceptualizing and when you're not. That would be my suggestion. Keep working with just that part of it.
Observing when I'm conceptualizing and
Observing
how I
when you
feel
catch
then.
yourself making up a story
Mm-hmm.
because of what you think it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, this is east and this is west. That's made up.
Mm-hmm. And then what do I do when I catch myself doing it?
Just say, oh, another one, and write it down on a piece of paper. Carry yourself a tablet. Because what you want to do is to see your habit. Right now, we don't believe that we do that. And you were surprised when you saw that you did. And you didn't remember when you did it again. Because you lapsed from presence, from being there and being aware, to back into your old routine of just doing stuff, and the stuff just rolls by because you would never be guilty of doing stuff like that. So you didn't have to pay attention to yourself.
So you're saying that when I observe it, then my
Write it
next
down.
exercise, besides noting it for future reference, is to become more present instead of in the story, being in the present moment and accepting. That's what I'm not clear on.
Well, right now, what you're saying is that you don't always remember to be there when you do what it is that you're paying attention, or that you're assigned to pay attention to be with, to be aware of. And you caught it, but you kind of caught it with hindsight. In other words, you didn't catch it until she mentioned something, and you said, oh yeah, I was thinking about her and her predisposition to criticizing this way of playing the game. As opposed to being there with it and noticing as soon as it happened, oh, I did that. I see that in myself, not in the other person. We always see it in the other person. We never miss the other person making a mistake. It's only when we make the mistake does it slip right by us because that can't be me, I don't do that. See the distinction?
So you're saying just focus on catching it as I do it or before I do it or that I am doing it. Just become more aware. And I guess what I'm asking you is once I become more aware, what's the next step? But maybe you're telling me don't jump that fast. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm telling you to stay with the next step, which is to be present enough to notice when you're doing it, so that you'll stop it.
So you think that the awareness will stop it?
I think that the awareness of the habit that we have, whatever habit that might be, that causes us to create an error in reality, to insert what do they call it, the computer thing? Virus. You're inserting a virus into your truth that corrupts it, right? And I'm saying that you want to develop an awareness of the frequency of you doing that so that you will stop doing that. It's not about noting it and being, and saying, oh, okay, I did that, That was one, that was two, and that was three, It's not about counting them. It's not about wearing them around like a medal. But it is about stopping. That's the real exercise, is the awareness that you're doing that again. Oh, okay, I'm going to stop that. Or how do I stop that? I stop that by being more present as opposed to catching myself afterwards. Okay. So see if you can find out what you think it is or what you know it is that causes you to do that. And I don't know how the exercise might go, but it might be that you'll notice that you do that more with other people than you do with yourself. You are more attuned to your perception of what other people are doing incorrectly than what you're doing incorrectly. And the redress to that would be just simply to pay more attention to yourself than you pay to the other person. Looking for the slip up in your own actions as opposed to someone else.
Thank you. That's very helpful.
Thank you. All right. Who's next?
I can go.
Okay. Sure. Hi.
I think I'm doing it a lot, nearly all the time. And it's easier for me to even notice when I'm not doing it than when I'm doing it. I make distinctions constantly. I hope I understood the question right, but I have to say it's just happening all the time. You know, when I see something, my mind automatically goes to some kind of a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And if I catch myself, then I step back and hope some space will open up between the perception and automatically going to some kind of a meaning, interpretation, categorization, whatever.
Okay.
So for me, it's easier to do the opposite, to notice when I'm not doing it rather than when I'm doing it. I found the exercise very
Well, you have to wait all week.
tiring.
Okay. All right. Are you finding, or have you been working this exercise enough to start to find when you are creating an alternate reality? Have you done it enough to be more attuned to when you create an alternate reality?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And what do you do right then when you catch it? What do you do?
Well, sometimes it's really clear to me that I'm creating an alternate reality.
What do you do?
I stop. I just take a breath, pause,
All right.
drop, let go,
Okay.
in the good case.
Okay. So you catch it, and then you go back and do it correctly with the next breath, with the next moment. That you what do you notice, if anything, when you catch it and stop it and take that breath?
It's tricky to describe because if I really start to correct it, I'm doing the same thing in a version of the same thing. You know, if I say this is yellow and then I say no, this is blue, it's kind of the same thing. So I just try to take a breath and let it be somehow. I'm experimenting what happens next. I'm not exactly sure. Try to go into an open space.
That's the way to do it. In other words, if we are able to be present in the moment without wanting to reconstruct or change the moment, then we are participating in a non-invasive way. We're not there making us making up a different story, other than the story that's there. And of course, we're so busy thinking about what we think we see and what we think is there and what we think they've done that we override the softness and sensitivity of the quietness and the authenticity, the truth of the moment itself. If we want to know who's there or what's there beside us, we have to be quiet and listen. Yeah? Not to think, but just to be present, just to be there. Right? Now, what we think is that, well, how can I know what's there if I'm not talking about what's there? You know, I've got to speak on it. I've got to talk about it. But then I've fallen into the trap, haven't I?
Right.
Right?
It's more of a feeling that I let it find me rather than that I'm doing anything.
You let it bring the message to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take the message there. You don't ask yourself, well, what is this moment trying to tell me? You shut up and listen, and you will hear. But it's about keeping me out of the way so that I don't obstruct the truth of the moment. That I don't go inside my crayon box and start coloring the moment. That I start out my moment, start out my day, start out my present moment by saying, what is the message for me in this? Not I've got an answer or I know the answer, but what is the message? See, so I've absolved myself from being the fact finder. And I am trusting that this moment will be honest with me and let me know the message that it has come to bring to me. But I've got to trust that. I've got to believe that reality will tell me the truth, will give me the message that it has for me. And not expect me that I will get the message that it has for you. That'll stop me from getting into your stuff and telling you what you should do. Next. Yes.
This is the first time I've heard this assignment, which is okay with me. I'm fine with that. But I wasn't here last week, so I didn't know what the assignment was.
Okay.
But I'm really a professional fact finder, which is, I'm a scientist. At least that's how I made my living. And making this transition to listening in this way that we're talking about has been very challenging, but it also has been very rewarding because I can stop using the words and the language of interpretation. It gets really, it complicates things and builds up these stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been looking at that for lately, and trying to hear what's being transmitted.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes sometimes I I find myself making a model of it, of what I'm hearing, and
Okay.
I think that's some habit, that's some history that I have with as my profession, and so. You know, for example, in driving here yesterday, I hadn't, in my mind I thought, and this is not so much between myself and another person, but it's myself and myself. In driving here, I thought it was going to be a 4-hour drive, because I had done it a couple of years ago. It was a pleasant drive, and so my mind had made this picture up that it was going to be about 4 hours. Well, it turned out to be 7 hours, and my body doesn't take the 7-hour drive as well as it did a couple of years ago. But I corrected it. I mean, I realized this is 7 hours. I looked at my GPS, which of course is some analytical device, but anyway, I looked at it and it said, you know, that's the time it's going to be. And so I just said to myself, Warren, you're not listening to what really is there. You're just making it up. You know, you're making these things to feel good and to plan and all that. So that's one example. I think I try to look at more and more the moments as they come in, to hear this, and the challenge with me for that is it's a way of being, and then the world I'm in works in a different way, or at least it operates, I think, in a different way, and it challenges me to translate back and forth what's really happening. But I'm enjoying this new approach to looking at truth. It's sometimes a little scary to take the leap and just let go. And but when I do let go, I haven't fallen yet. In fact, I've been lifted, but it's trying to keep that concentration, which is what seems to me to be the doorway to listening.
Yeah, we definitely have to be concentrated to use this technology, because it is about remaining in the present moment, in spite of everything that might be going on around us. To stay right here. And that's all we have to do, because right here is where the truth is. We can't find it anyplace else. It doesn't exist anywhere. The truth exists right here, right now. So we're good. When you found you had more than the number of hours that you would be able to drive comfortably, did you stop? Did you rest? Did you breathe? Did you sit for a few minutes? Did you get out and stretch and walk? Or did you just keep driving?
No, I got out. I stopped.
Oh, okay. You go. Well, you listened to. You didn't argue. You listened.
No, I did.
And you were informed about what to do next. because of the truth of that moment. You didn't try to paint another color on it by saying, oh, I can do this. I used to do this all the time. So good for you.
You know, one of the things, the dangers that I found is if I'm pushing, you know, that is to say, instead of taking a rest or rests, there was several I took. Instead of doing that, just pushing direct, I can get tired, and in those cases, I could make some more serious mistakes with following the route. You know, missing a turn. You know, going to sleep at the wheel, things like that. And so, resting along a trip like that, trips like that, I found are a much better way, even though it takes a little longer, but not much. It takes a little longer. At least I feel more alert.
And it won't always be that way necessarily. In other words, it won't always be where you get stressed sooner than later. It's about waiting to see what happens on this trip, even though something different happened on a different trip. But that was that trip. This is this trip. And I may get fatigued. I might not get fatigued. It might seem like a long time. It might not seem like a long time. I might have to stop for a whole day and a night. I might. But that's what we're talking about. Being there and accepting what the moment shares with us to do, as opposed to trying to make it what we want it to be. And that paints out or colors all that we think we see. Because remember, until we stop looking with our own eyes, we won't see what it is that's truly there. We've got to stop using our own methods of evaluation and research, because we go in knowing or thinking that we know what's there and what's the resolution to what's there. And we usually wind up making mistakes. Usually. So. Yes.
So I've come to appreciate that, just being in the moment, until recently. And I thought, what happened here? I noticed something's up. I used to teach that to kids, when your body tells you something's up. And I've become aware of that, and I notice it, and I have been able to still myself to just let it come about until recently. And then I found myself, it's happening again, the bubbling is happening. And instead of letting myself, or even resting in that, leaning into it even, I've been searching for what it could be. And looking at the mileposts of the last, now I've expanded it to the last year. And looking at, oh, well, there was this, and then there was that, and then there was this, and then I've had 2 surgeries in 3 months, and of course there's that, and then you moved, and just this morning I said to myself, and I'm writing about it, surely that's it. And just this morning, I stopped. I put the pen down, put the book away, got myself ready, I came here, and I realized I have dug deep into my color box and been trying to sort it out, what is it that's creating this discomfort, this dis-ease. And I realized I haven't been breathing deeply, which is everything I talk about and teach, and I was like, okay, time to slow down and just be with it.
You shut the thought process down.
Yeah.
And you were just there.
I was just there. I wasn't looking for an answer, an excuse, any of that. And all that's true. All that's true. And that's there. Now it's this. Now I'm here. I'm not there. I'm not about that anymore.
Although I would not agree necessarily that all of that's true. Certainly I'm thinking about all of that, but does that make it true?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm told, Venerable, that it's important to be vulnerable. And I feel vulnerable in what I'm about to say because I have to admit that this is, I have a lot of feelings about this particular exercise. And
would you like to wait until next week?
I can if you'd like.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, I don't want you to do anything that you feel uncomfortable doing.
No, I want to say, in saying that I am revealing myself to you. Please be gentle with me.
Well, I come with a whole posse, so it's not just me. It's a whole lot of us out there.
I hear a lot of yeah-buts going on in my head about this particular thing, and Warren, I especially appreciated your sharing so much because I'm an academic too, and I'm a teacher, and I'm thinking even it's kind of funny. In the sky there is no north or south, and I literally thought to myself, but what if you're flying and need to know where north is? And then you said, well, when you're communicating with someone and someone comes to you, it's good to listen and not just be thinking of your own story and what your advice is. And I thought, but what if they're coming to you for advice? And I had a student today who said to me, oh, well, you have very strong opinions about what you're teaching. And I thought to myself, well, of course I do. That's what teachers do. They're teaching. You have to have a point of view if you're going to teach something. Or even silly things like, it's okay if I come up with my own truth and have my own stories, because what is truth after all? So, and the example that I had, since last time that we talked about it in the group was, here in Hendersonville we have a mix of people. It's very rare to meet somebody who's actually from Hendersonville. So you get people from New Jersey and Boston and the South and the deep, deep South, and you get people of different ethnicities. And whenever you're speaking with them, because that's part of my thing and what I do for a living, I automatically analyzing, this person's speaking to me, and this is where they're from, and the words they're using, this means that this is their educational background, and this means, what they're telling me is telling me sort of more and more and more about them, gathering information, so to speak. For the purpose of when I communicate with them, it's almost like a really, really, you have to be careful with this, but a really, really light code switching to communicate, so that, I don't want to give them my professorial response if they are maybe not of that mindset. But the purpose of it, and this is where I have trouble with the exercise, the purpose of the code switching is to better communicate with the person, like to come more towards them. And in doing that, in some ways I'm sort of not doing the exercise very well, because I'm creating stories inside of my head for the purpose of which, and this is where I relieve myself then from making a mistake, because, oh, well, I'm doing it for a good reason.
Mm-hmm. What can I do with that?
That's what I'm wondering too.
Nothing. The one thing about truths are that until the person who comes to you for the truth is ready for it, it wants to accept it as a new paradigm, there's nothing to say. As long as everyone feels like they're doing it the right way for themselves, there's nothing to say and there's nothing to do. So as carriers of truth, as caretakers of truth, we also have to be mindful of what the person or the moment is asking us to give. If they have already formatted and pre-framed their request in a way that allows you to read into that they don't want to change their mind, they want validation of where they are. And when you know that that's what they want, you know, who are we to take your truth away from you? You're not asking for that. You don't want it to be different than you see it is. And as long as you're okay with that, I'm certainly okay with that. But you want to be able to recognize when a person's really not asking you a question. They're just reforming and sharing their truth. They're not asking you a question. They're not wanting to know anything from you. They're wanting you to choose sides. I want you to ally with them. But they're not asking for the truth. And there's really nothing else to say. Right? A part of knowing we're not in the moment and we're not open to alternate expressions is that we keep having a year but in our own mind. We keep, there's something that's driving us toward no cardinal point. But we keep saying, yeah, but I've done it this way, and this is the method that I've learned from Dr. So-and-so. And it's made me plenty of money. So I'm not giving it up. To truly be a good friend means to accept the person as they are, with all of their faults, all of their features, all of their good points and all of their not so good points. So in other words, if they've come with their minds made up about how they want to walk this life, live in this reality, if you're truly a good friend, you say, okay. They didn't come and ask you for any help. A way to see it differently, a way to understand this. They came and said, don't you agree with me? And as soon as you say no, they, yeah, but. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So, in the sky there is no distinction of east and west. There are no clouds either. Because we're saying that we want to exist. We want to be in that world before there is that world. I don't know what that is, but it's not a cloud. Is the sky blue? Is the tree pretty? Is the flower orange? As soon as I get into that conversation, as soon as I get into that expression of what I think you are, and there should be a big sign that comes into this, shut up. So, so notice when you are creating speculating. When we find we don't have things to talk about, we make up stuff. We make things up. So just be aware of our tendency because the same thing that we do with nature, we do with people. We make up stuff. don't really know who they really are, but we make up stuff because that's what we do. And so this week, you're multitasking to a degree, because it says, how often are you noticing that you are doing this? So you sort of talked a bit about that. When is it that I catch myself creating something out of nothing? And then the second part of the exercise is, what obstacles does my insistence on being a part of the creation, being a shaper of the truth, what obstacles does that create for the relationship that I'm having with the moment? And everything else is the moment. We think that we should say something, or do something, or share something. We think. But if reality doesn't ask us to provide direction, to point to the east or to the west, one of the things that we do is we do the same thing that we always do, which is to, I've seen this, I've heard this, and this is what you have to do to make it better. And so what have we done? We've fallen into the trap of conceptualization and the fact that just because something looks this way and cracks, don't have to be a duck. But we've entered into the relationship, into the partnership, with preconceived ideas and notions about what the solution is. One of the things that I find helpful is to come forward, is to be a part of the circle, but with the attitude, with the mind state that says, what can I do to help? Not I know the answer and I'm going to tell you what to do, or this is what you should do to make your life better. What is it can I do to help? And that's only created from the question or the statement of the other that says, I need help. If no one ever asked you for help, then it's nothing for you to give. And that's the first mistake we make because we're always trying to fix people and situations. Oh, I see your problem. Why don't we see our own problem? Why can't we fix our own problem? Oh, I see your problem. And this is what you should do. Okay, notice it. What obstacles does it bring to the harmony or positive resolve of the problem, of the situation? And just catch yourself, just like someone, just catch yourself. And stop. Carry a tablet with you, make a little check then, whenever you catch yourself, column A, column B, column C, check. And the process of counting and checking without condemnation, because we hear that too. Don't criticize. Just say, oh, there it is. I see it again. Check. And at the end of the day, look at your book and see whether you've gotten better or not at leaving things alone, taking your hands off of things. I've often defined mindfulness as being in the present moment with your hands in your pockets. Not wanting to change anything, not wanting to put one thing over here and move one thing over here. Just being there, just showing up. That's what everything else does, except us. We show up and we want to modify, we want to change, we want to alter. We want things to be different. We want people to be different. But we don't understand why we find it hard to know. And we don't really give ourselves the opportunity to learn how to be with and informed by the raw materiality of the moment. So, what is it trying to tell us? What am I supposed to learn from this? And remember that everything changes. So that includes you being informed of what you should do next. Change. Oh, I did it this way last Friday. Do it this way? No, that was last Friday. You will find that when you do what you're supposed to do in the moment, you are too busy to get involved with and to tinker with other people's stuff. You don't have time. Anybody else before we go? I see some smiles, but that's pretty cool. All right. Check your emails, because I wasn't given what the next assignment will be. Some people carry the football, some people don't. All right. Well, I've enjoyed this time here, because I didn't know who would be here. See some of our Dharmacharyas, which is great. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate the Sangha too, because all of you have had an opportunity and a part of the survival of Heartwood during these very rough times. We missed old friends who weren't able to come and see us during the quarantine. And good to see you back. And looking forward to the retreat this weekend. May all beings be liberated from suffering. May we be well. May we be happy. May we be peaceful. Thank you so much. Continue to be kind. Continue to be understanding. And we'll see you when we see you. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.